Let's look at one of the most beautiful practices I have ever come across in my life. This is one that you can definitely discover on your own just by looking out into the world, by going on a walk in nature, and yet, at least that's my own personal experience, it can be so powerful when someone says, hey, I have a way of articulating this to you. So what got me very much to open my eyes to this way of interacting with the world was the articulation of this practice by an author. I was looking for more information about Iceland because that's where my name comes from, and that's how by coincidence, really, I stumbled across a German book written by Annabelle, and you can find her work on her website, annabelle.world. In the book, she doesn't share this as a practice, but rather as something she experiences and is prompted to do while on the magical island of Greenland. I think I said Iceland, but I meant Greenland because it's the island of ice. So on Greenland. And what this practice is about is going to a special place. Maybe that's a good way to start with, but really you can do this no matter where you are. I can do this right now. It doesn't matter. I had the most profound experience of this practice at an airport when my flight was delayed. And it's very simple, but like all simple practices, you can train this for a lifetime and discover something new along the way every time. And what you do is you look into the world, you experience the world, and this is not quite how it is in the book, but the articulation just inspired me so much. So I hope this articulation inspires you. And as you look into the world, you ask yourself, what does the way that I am experiencing the world have to say about me? What does it have to share about me? So this is a way to also get to know yourself, and thereby, and this is one of the great mysteries of all mystery studies really, is the ideas or the practices as you get to know yourself, and only by getting to know yourself can you truly gain knowledge of the world and the cosmos. And this is saying everything that I see in the world around me, the way I see it, has something to say about me. And then we can take this one step further, and that is what experience, so ask yourself this, what experience does the world have of me? And here it gets really fascinating, because in our day-to-day life, we often feel like there's so many elements we cannot control, and it's true. We cannot control our environment. And that's one of the big goals of mystery studies and enlightenment. It's not to start controlling the external world, because if we start with that, we often run up against walls. It's like if you're, I don't know, you've got a friend that's driving you crazy, and when you start trying to control your friend, you're probably just going to run up against a wall. The only thing you can do is control yourself. Now, when you start asking yourself, what experience is the world having of me? What this in turn prompts or inspires is to start looking at. If you think about that, maybe I'm having a really grumpy day. I'm like, oh, you know, what effect is the world's experience of me actually having on the world? And when I switch that around, then like that time at the airport where I did this practice in a deep way and had these incredible interactions with people and generous interactions, it all started with thinking about what experience I want the world to have of me, knowing that this is a way to change the world. So this is how you can really deliberately choose to do something good. Now, in the next video, you're going to be taken through a meditation where you get to try this out, sort of get a transmission of the practice, which hopefully serves you as a really useful bouncing board and starting point to do this practice throughout your daily life. And I find it such an important one. So you can do either practice separately or all together also. So as you experiment with this in your own time, you can figure out what works best for you, or different situations might call for a different approach. But in the meditation, it's going to be all together. So the first step is to look at the world and ask, what does what you see out there have to tell you about you? And if this sounds confusing to you, here are a few pointers as well. So sometimes we're having bad days and everything sucks. And it's like, oh my God, it's raining. The weather sucks. We're already in that judgment state of mind. But really, it's just raining. The raining can be great if we're looking at it from the perspective of what the earth needs, if things have been really dry for a while. Or it can be terrible from a bigger perspective. It might be really good for us, depending on the day that I'm having. Going out and getting rained on is a wonderful, cathartic experience. And on other days, it's just the worst thing ever. What has changed? Usually the rain is more or less the same, but I'm the one that's different. So what happens often in day-to-day life, we're having certain experiences, but we're not always super aware of what's going on inside of us. So by flipping this, instead of saying, oh, how am I today? Or I'm stressed, or we're like, okay, what do I see about myself by looking out there? And it can also have this beautiful effect where if you see a lot of beauty and you realize you are part of that beauty, it can help realize your own beauty. It can help realize your own strength. If you start seeing the tree for more than just a tree, but some powerful, often ancient, much older than us being, or a young sapling striving, and you start building the capacity to see those things in yourself. So really there is a challenge also there to look at the world in a new way. So regardless of what you're seeing, it can give you information about yourself, but it can also help you get inspired by yourself and experience awe and experience this relationship, and also having the sense of separation between you and the world outside start to melt, and starting to feel connection and interdependence. And then the next step, which is to ask yourself, what experience is the world having of me? Whatever is around you in the world right now. And then from there, seeing, well, what experience do I want the world to have of me? And this can be profound, because if you start smiling at people, for example, they carry that smile forward into their day. Or at the airport, I saw someone with a broken backpack. And I was like, well, what do I want this person to experience on this day at the airport? And I started a little conversation with this person, and he was flying for the first time, and his bag had broken because he had had such a long commute to the airport. I'm like, okay, well, what can his first flight be like for him? You know, there's all these people around him, all these people waiting, the flight is delayed, everything sucks, and here we can be like, well, look outside instead of on our phones or our devices. And I was like, I think I want to get this person a bag, but I don't want to like spend money. And then I started wandering off. We have so much time. I was like, well, all the bags here cost so much money, and that's also a bit crazy, but I want to get this person a new bag. And so I went into a pharmacy, and then I started up a conversation there. I was just smiling and talking, and then they gave me a free bag when I shared the story with them about this man traveling for the very first time. And they're like, I can give you a bag. And they had these beautiful sturdy bags, and I got that bag. And then I got to bring the bag to the guy, and he was so happy. He had a different experience of the airport because the generosity of the free bag came from airport personnel. He had a different experience and a different memory of his flight, a mix of things, and it all just came from something asking, well, what do I want the world to experience of me? And this does not make me a good person, and I'm not sharing this story to say, hey, I'm awesome, because it's not something I would always do. Rather, I want to share this story because that is what this practice can have as an extra effect. That when you take the time to ask yourself that and realize you are connected and everything's interdependent, and you can be the key factor to changing someone's experience every single day, every single moment. An animal's experience, a plant's experience, the air's experience, the experience in the city. That's something you can affect every single day just by choosing how you want to be in the environment that you are in. So you're going to do this in one big meditation. This is also a teaching moment for you, a teaching meditation. You're going to discover more about yourself and have a technique where every single day, every single moment, you can learn more about yourself and affect the environment that you're in consciously. And if that isn't magic, I don't know what is. So I hope you enjoy this practice. I hope you fall in love with this meditation. I hope Annabelle's book gets translated into English, because her work, her story really helped me articulate this in a new way, in a deeper way, and add on to it. It's totally different in the book. It's this mountain that she's looking on, and just the single prompt of what does out here have to tell you about what's in here. But it just was so helpful. So credit to her words, to her writing, and her journey. And I can't wait for you to try this meditation. I also can't wait to hear from you what you discover and learn when you do it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and thank you so much for being here.